Hi, this is Michael Winslow from Police Academy 1 through Infinity and Spaceballs with Mel Brooks. And you're watching Insert Here.
Welcome, everyone, to Mark Who 42. Hi, guys. My name is Mark Baumgarten, and we've got a show for you today. We are talking about Sid and Marty Krofft. We're talking about Sid Krofft, who passed away. We're talking about all the shows that Sid and Marty Krofft put out. If you are a child of the 60s, 70s, or 80s, you will be very familiar with the name Sid and Marty Krofft. With me today are...
Vicky Jakubowski.
Hi, Vicky.
Hi.
How you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good.
That's good. We also have
Juan in Orlando.
Hey, Juan, what's going on?
Oh, nothing. Just a night. It's actually a pretty nice day after a little rain yesterday in Orlando.
We're talking weather again. It can't be Mark Who 42 without weather. And Vicky is laughing hysterically right now.
We had snow last week.
Yeah, there you go. It's been nice down here. I think it hit 80 once. It would every other day. It's been in the 70s. It's been beautiful. We have a special guest today to help us talk about Sid and Marty Krofft's television shows, including Land of the Lost. We've got...
Hi, I am Paul Prince Justin Weimer.
Hey, Paul, tell everyone a little about yourself.
I am an award-nominated fan writer for Nerds of a Feather, the fanzine this year. I write about science fiction, fantasy. I podcast. I do tabletop role-playing games. I do lots of stuff all over the internet and connected to genre. And I've known Juan for quite a while.
Yeah, you've actually been a guest on this show before, but I wasn't
several
there.
times. Yes,
but I
several
wasn't
times.
there.
Yeah, we had to carry Mark because he didn't have the time to show up.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. Anywho, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk all about the world of Sid and Marty Krofft. We'll be right back here on Mark Who 42.
Don't go away. Don't go away. We'll be back with more Mark Who 42 after this.
Toycast is back. We are talking toys once more here on the Geekcast Radio Network's Toy and Action Figure podcast. From breaking into the display case to our toy topic talk and the brand new Origins in Toy collections, where we get guests to tell us their toy story of how they got into toy collecting. Toycast is the only toy podcast you will ever need. Find us on geekcastradio.com and any podcatching client you choose to use. Now go forth, transform and transcend your toy collecting today while listening to Toycast.
Get ready for the ultimate geek experience right here in the Sunshine State. Florida Geek Scene presents a full calendar of events and conventions. From anime to horror, we've got it all. Meet your favorite stars, find rare collectibles, and immerse yourself in your passion. Experience the thrill of cosplay and witness amazing live performances. Stay up to date with the latest news and reviews all across Florida. Florida Geek Scene, where pop culture happens. Visit us online for more. Don't miss out on the fun. Join us at Florida Geek Scene, floridageekscene.com.
You are listening to Mark Who 42's Universe.
Welcome back to Mark Who 42. I'm your host, Mark Baumgarten, and we've got Vicky Jakubowski, Juan Sanmiguel, and our guest, Paul Weimer. We are going to talk the world of Sid and Marty Krofft, and we're going to let Juan take it away. Hey, Juan.
Well, unfortunately, Sid Krofft passed away recently, and his brother passed away in 2023. And they were a specific part of the popular culture, particularly for the Gen X audience. They produced a lot of shows for Saturday morning television, particularly in the 70s. They started to taper off in the 80s. They started out doing puppetry at nightclubs and stuff like that. They put I think they did kind of a burlesque or risque type of puppet show in the 50s that got them some attention, and then they started working on the Dean Martin show in the 1960s, which would eventually lead into their breakout show HR Pup and stuff. Although I forgot.
Well, they worked on something before that, if I remember correctly.
Well, I don't know where it is in the timeline because they designed the Banana
Splits came first.
Banana Splits was
Yeah,
68
first,
to
yeah.
70. H&R Puff and stuff was 69.
All right, yeah, okay.
With a movie that came out in 1970 in the theaters.
Which unfortunately, I think the film flopped. It had Mama Cass was she? I haven't seen the movie. Is she an assistant witch to Witchy Poo or?
Well, the boss Martha Ray was in it as the boss witch, and then Witchy Poo. I cannot remember if I do not remember. It's been a long time since I've seen it. One thing, the other day, 2 nights ago, with Randy, we did a marathon of one episode of every Sid and Marty Krofft show in existence, except we left off Land of the Lost for a reason, because I know other people want to talk about that here in the crew. But I wanted to mention the people who worked on H&R Puff and stuff, and the people who worked on Lidsville, and maybe even the Bugaloos. And I know Sid and Marty Krofft have always said, no, it's not true. But I'm sorry, there are drug references, and they must have been on marijuana.
No,
I mean, H.R. Puff and stuff, he looks like a joint. His hair, the orange hair, is the flame. The psychedelic nature of all those 3 shows, there's no way that when the writing staff weren't a little not there.
I don't know. I believe them. I watched the show, and look, they're just doing a show.
It was the 70s.
It was the
because it could've
70s.
been
Saturday Night Live
contractized.
did stuff like that, and I'm 100% sure. And yes, Sid and Marty have always denied that. They've always denied that. But I mean, the title Lidsville and all the psychedelic stuff, it's just
Or
a
are
little
you
bit
reading
too
too
much.
much into it after the fact? Because let's be honest, everything in the 70s, especially the early 70s, was psychedelic. It may have come out of the counterculture and the drug culture, but not. I mean, you have to admit, Sid and Marty Krofft also did the Osmonds show.
Oh, I don't think. Hold on. We're talking about
Donny
moving to
Osmond
the
did
80s.
several
We're talking
of
about moving to the 80s.
songs.
Yes, no, I agree. Once they passed Sigmund of the Sea Monster, I don't, and not even then. I do think they tapered off, but they definitely, and this is not just my opinion. I've talked to a lot of people, but yes, okay, maybe it's an opinion because Sid and Marty Krofft have said no, but others have said yes. So just throwing that out there.
Well, also, I think part of the thing is, I think their use of color was a little bit over the top, and I think that was a lot of transition to color because I think Lost in Space and a lot of the Jerry Anderson show. Well, Jerry Anderson was a little bit better, but there were some shows that didn't know how to light with color. I mean, I think Star Trek, I think was the best show to come out in color.
Okay, what was the owl's name in H&R Puffs and stuff? It was Doctor Who. What was his name? Not Doctor Who, folks. But he was, when he did his science.
You mean Dr. Blinky?
Was it Dr. Blinky?
Dr. Blinky.
What about those when he's got the experiment, when he's working with chemicals and stuff? They're bongs. And there was the episode I watched. There was an there was an episode I watched. The episode I watched when he's playing with the bongs and all this stuff, it explodes and it's a puff of smoke coming out. I don't want to make this. I don't want to belabor this.
Really, I think you are belaboring it.
That too.
Okay, you know what? Maybe I have, but you know what? We're no longer on, because they don't exist. We're no longer on Subspace Radio, so I don't. The language and the stuff we talk about doesn't have to be that curbed anymore. Maybe the F-bomb can't be, but everything else should be all right.
But I just think that was I just think it was just the look of the shows which gave it that, and I think it just gave something. At least that's my opinion. I'm not saying that they're saints. I mean, they did risque puppet shows. They showed puppets with breasts, if I recall correctly.
Yes, they did. And Martha Ray as Benita Bizarre, if you look, I don't know why her breasts are gigantic and pointy a little. Uh, for a child, Vicky is dying. Vicky is looking at me. Vicky is going, Mark, shut up and let Juan
Well,
take
one,
over.
there was a little bit of she could only contain them so much, and
Well-
then there's the added thing of you look at the
Paul
styles
is
of the
going.
time. I know. I'm sorry, Paul.
Paul, welcome to the show. My name is Mark
From one big
Baumgarten.
gown
I've
to
run
another.
this.
So there's only so much you can do. But if you look at everything from that time period, it fits in perfect.
Okay. But I do agree. Once she hit Lost Saucer, it very calmed out. It did. I used to love that show. But Juan, take over.
But
Sorry.
since you brought up Martha Rain, I think it's also early in the run. They gave her a resurrection in her career. I don't know what her career was before that, but the thing is, she had, the documentary said she'd been kind of graylisted because she was for our boys in Vietnam. I think she did Vietnam. She went and did USO tours. And she came off as pro to Vietnam War and that kind of alien. But by doing the Sid and Marty Krofft stuff, she became on Alice, Vic Tayback's mother. Resurrected her career, and then she did those Polydent commercials.
I remember this.
Oh,
well,
yeah,
those were funny.
This is Martha Ray for Polydent.
Yeah. I want to, if we talk or mention Martha Ray, let's talk about some of the other stars of these shows. I mean, in H.R. Puppet Theft, you have the Artful Dodger himself, Jack Wild.
Yeah.
Wow.
I feel bad because I think as someone who's done like the Oscar show, and I have not seen Oscar. No, excuse me.
Oliver, you've never seen Oliver?
You've never. Okay, that's your assignment. That's your assignment for this week.
Lionel Bart is turning in his grave.
I have never seen. I've never seen. I always thought that was a kind of a weird choice for 1968 because it seems like such a straight-laced movie and one of the most. Well, that would have come out in 67, so I forget what the 69 winner was, but it just seems like, this is an era of experimentation, of,
Yes, but if you've ever done a production of Oliver, all the double entendres in that music. Oh, yeah. I mean, it just, and it covers domestic violence, and you've got the children being abused and the abandonment
anti-Semitism,
of unwed mothers, and rich versus poor. Yes, I've actually done a production of it. So
I've been. Oliver Twist is not one of my. Just on a side note, is not one of my favorite of the. I'm more of a Tale of Two Cities, Great Expectations. Bleak House.
I can see that.
All right. I mean, I resent that Oliver beat out The Lion in Winter, but what are you gonna do?
Sure.
Yeah, I agree with that. Billy Hayes.
I got a Billy Hayes story.
Ooh.
It's not a big story. It's not an interesting. I think the thing is, so it had to have been the 90s because they decided to open up the Emmys with a dedication to children's programming. And they had two ends of, I think, Saturday Morning at the time. They had Billy in full costume as Witchy Poo, and again, 90s. And they had the White Ranger from Power Rangers. So that's what shows that it must have been the 90s. What I always wanted to know, and I had the opportunity, I was at the same building with this man. I never had a chance to ask the actor, Jason, is it Jason David Franks? If he was in costume at the Emmys, or was it just a stunt man? But no, she was witchy pooing it up, and she, Billy Hayes was doing her thing, and and I thought it was kind of interesting. The host, when she introduced the White Ranger after that, goes, "I am so cool with my kids right now."
He was cool for himself. Now he's cool for Billy Barty.
Well, he had a really big spanning career.
He did.
Yeah.
Please. Oh, I mean, I loved him, and I actually now that I think about it, I feel bad because he was so beaten up in Foul Play, which was a fun movie, but unfortunately, Goldie thinks he's the short man or whatever it was, or comes in and I think he gets beaten up because they think he's a salesman and they think he's and I'm sorry if I'm jumping. Anybody else has opinions of these stars? I mean, because they did get good people.
There's more. I mean, Charles Nelson Riley.
Oh yeah.
Butch Patrick from the Munsters. You've got oh God, Johnny Whitaker. I used to love Family Affair, which is really embarrassing for me to say because I don't know if that's really a show you should watch.
On.
It was a great,
it has its place
but I loved it.
history.
I loved it. I watched that. I remember Mrs. Beasley and stuff. It's a good show. But these stars they got, or let's not say A-listers because they weren't A-listers, but they definitely were bringing people in. And like you said, it helped Martha's career.
Yeah.
You know,
well, I mean,
it's kind of like, and I'm going to bring it up because I am Mark Who 42. You know, Doctor Who, all these actors and celebrities were like, oh, wouldn't it be cool to be on it? Because it's a cool thing to be on. I think these shows were cool to be on.
I mean, some of these shows were cool to be on or to write for. So yeah. They were engines. They were engines for the creative community, both actors and writers alike.
Yeah.
And we can definitely talk about writers in a little while. But yeah, I mean, there's so many people on this.
Actually, I want to ask you guys because I mean, do any of you have any more concrete memories of Captain Cool and the Kongs and that show in the 2 seasons about it? Mine's are more hazy.
Yeah, I was actually going to bring this up because I, used to watch all of them, and then I didn't remember things like Dr. Shrinker. I didn't remember watching. I didn't remember watching the Krofft Super Show or Captain Cool and the Kongs, and then I realized why. I'm looking at the dates of these shows, right? Saturdays. On Saturday mornings, starting in 76, 77. So I got Far Out Space, right after Far Out Spaceless came on. I started singing opera professionally. And on Saturdays, I was driving into Manhattan or getting driven into Manhattan or taking a train for my rehearsals. So I missed all that. We didn't have VCRs. So I'm like, Wild Boy and Bigfoot, what? I don't remember these. So no, when you talk about Captain Cool and the Kongs, I don't think I ever saw them except when I was watching the other night.
Yeah, whatever got re-syndicated is the only things that I got to watch, which was H.R. Puffin stuff. I think I've seen an episode of the Bugaloos.
Oh my God, that was my favorite show when I was a kid.
Someone was telling me about Lidsville recently, but I didn't see that one. Sigmund and the Sea Monsters, I remember watching episodes. Land of the Lost, which we'll talk about later. And I know I remember one episode of The Lost Saucer, and that's a...
Oh my God, I love The Lost Saucer. Where are you going in the... It was a great show. I love Jim Nabors and Ruth Buzzy in that. And you can't forget the Bay City Rollers.
Actually, wait, you remember that show? You two remember that show?
I watch that every week.
Unfortunately, I don't know if you can find it. What I do want to watch is, do you guys remember a segment on the Bay City Rollers called Lost Island?
Ooh, well, yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay, no. Yeah. Okay, no, the thing about Lost Island, this is why I want... Essentially, Lost Island was like, okay, let's reuse all the old costumes. So on that Lost Island segment, you had Puffin stuff, Sigmund.
Yeah, and Billy Hayes was on it, and Billy Barty was on it. And Billy was playing Witchy Poo. So yes, I
No, Billy was playing the genie. I think she was playing Weenie the Genie.
She played both Witchy Poo and Weenie the Genie. There were two characters. She played two characters.
Right. But I think on the Lost Island segment, they were all stranded on this island, and the main antagonists were usually a version of Dr. Shrinker and the Flea Stack.
G. Robinson was doing that. It was the bad guy. And it was originally called the Krofft Superstar Hour and immediately turned into the Bay City Rollers show. But yeah, I watched that. That was a great show. I used to love, I don't say I love the Bay City Rollers, but I thought it was funny. It was a funny show.
Well, sadly, it's one season, and I can't.
One season, and that's an interesting thing. Most of these shows were only one season. Banana Splits was 2. HR and Puffin Stuff was 1 season of 17 episodes. Bugaloo was one season of 17 episodes. Lidsville, 1 season of 17 episodes. What is this with 17?
Well, wait, I can't explain to you the 17.
Now, Sigmund was 2 seasons, was 29 episodes. So that hit.
Well, no, there's a weird thing. I think Mark Evanier in an interview. I I think it was an interview on the podcast that Paul Dini and his wife, who's a magician, I'm blanking out on her name right now.
Mrs. Dini.
This is the kind of humor that, this is the stuff that you miss, Paul. When
you miss all of this dad jokes up and down since 2012.
No dad jokes.
But anyway,
that's all I do.
They were interviewing Mark Evanier, who's had an incredible, varied career in animation, sitcom writing, variety show writing, and he said that a lot of Saturday morning television at the time, they didn't work on, okay, if the show's a big hit, keep making more of it. I think they just said, well, if we get X amount of episodes, and even one season's worth, they can rerun it. New kids are coming into watching Saturday morning, and, we'll replace the kids who are growing out of it. And I think, send your letters if I'm wrong, or if anybody thinks I'm wrong. So I think if you just got one season on Saturday morning,
do you remember
kind of success?
Yeah, do you remember the show UFO? They were going to do a second season, and Lou Gray's like, "No, you're not. You're going to do Space 1999."
No, I think it was more complicated than that. I think the thing is, UFO initially started out with great ratings, and then the ratings went down.
But
and
they were working on it. The second season was supposed to have more episodes on the moon base, and they were going to. There were a lot of things in Space 1999 that were going to be occurring with UFO had they gone in the second season. But you're probably right too. The ratings probably did go down a bit, and Lou Gray did. I mean, there was a lot of things. It's easier to do it, and I don't understand it. Why is it easier to do a completely different show and have to build new sets and everything than go with, if it's good enough, go with it.
Well, to be honest, now that I think about it, Mark Evanier might have been talking about more animation.
Okay.
To do it, but I don't know. I don't know. I mean, an interesting thing I saw in the documentary for Puffin Stuff was, sadly, they didn't get enough money to produce, to realize it. So the guys Sid and Marty had to put in their own money. And they were hoping to make it back in merchandising and hopefully getting a second season. And they did offer them a second season, but not more money to produce it. They didn't want to put more of their own money into it.
Right.
I mean, I think they were putting in six figures, if I heard right. I mean, I think they probably did, because I think a lot of their shows had some type of merchandising, dolls, books, which became an issue, and unfortunately was the downfall of Land of the Lost, which we will talk about. I think we're putting it off because, in my opinion, and I'm pretty sure it's in Paul's opinion too, that was their best show. Or at least
I have to say it was my favorite, but to be honest, it was probably the best show. First of all, it lasted many, many seasons. There was a storyline that continued, especially near the end. So yes, and the production values. I do think Land of the Lost probably was.
Sleeve stacks.
Yeah, and the sleeve stacks. I do believe Land of the Lost probably was the best show. It just wasn't my favorite.
But when I was younger, I was just like, what it was the hissing sound. Yeah. I have a massive fear of snakes.
So you can't watch the Ice Warriors.
Yeah, I have a thing about there's.
I see.
It's a very long, drawn out story about why I have a fear of snakes. But you spend enough time in Texas, you might develop a fear of snakes.
I thought that would develop you a relationship with snakes. I mean, I don't know. I mean, the thing about it, it's funny you bring that up, because I think as children, I had a friend who graduated. He's a local artist, but he also went to West Point and did a tour in the Army as an officer. Now, the reason I bring him up, as he's a professional artist, he loves art, and when I talk about Land of the Lost, he'll admit that he was obviously a little bit of an older. I don't know if he was in his teen. He was probably in his teens. Sleeve stacks didn't scare him. I think sleeve stacks were effective with children. I mean, I still admire that design. I think the original costume was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
On it. I mean,
I
think we could go into talking about it. And Paul, last year, 2 years ago, I did a rewatch of the first season on the 50th anniversary of the shows, and they really held up. And one of the funny things is, so the thing is, I would post, and Blue Sky had just become a thing, so I would post my review, and I would usually take a picture from the episode, and find online. And so there was an episode where Rick Marshall, the father, gets electrocuted by playing around with crystals. And the thing is, so I had this expression where the actor Spencer Milligan had this weird expression, and I tried to load it up on Blue Sky, and Blue Sky said, "This is too scary." It just gave me the message.
Oh, wow!
And all it was an eye expression. At least that's all I could figure out. Was I think he just did this really wild-eyed look. I don't know. I'm almost tempted to say that he kind of looked like Kalash. Cash Patel, except you're more sympathetic with him.
Oh dear! I thought we were doing politics.
That's the only way I could compare the eye look.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing that was a strength about that show was, and this is the story, and Paul, you probably are an expert, so let me lead in, and you can tell me if I'm wrong or if I don't have enough information, and then we can get back. So what happened is, supposedly David Gerrold said that he was contacted by NBC. It says, "Hey, Sid and Marty Krofft has got this show for us, and could you help him out with it?" And this I got, my source for this is I got the DVD set for the 40th anniversary in 2004. No, 30th. Yeah, 30th. I do know math.
That's actually the second time. Are you sure you know math? That's the second time.
And this is the and they had a documentary, and also they did some commentaries on some of the episodes. So and David was intrigued. He had just done animated Star Trek, and he goes, "Oh, wait a minute, those guys who did Puffin stuff, and that was a trippy show. Okay, let's talk to them." And supposedly what it was they had a book.
Yeah, well, yeah,
pictures.
Yeah, and Gerald created it out of that book. He did the world building, and he was responsible for getting people like Larry Niven to write episodes for it.
Larry Niven, Ben Bova, DC Fontana, Walter Koenig, Norman Spinrad, Greg Stranges. They had a lot of interesting writers and good writers of all their shows. And maybe
there's an episode based on Theodore Sturgeon. Yeah. It's like so bunch of people they got. I mean, as time went on, the scripts kind of went down, but well,
I will say in the first two seasons, the first season David did the story editing, and then second season was a guy named Dick Morgan who apparently wrote one of the early space shows. I don't know if it was Space Cadet or Tom Corbett, but he wrote it, and he and David got along, and he did a lot of scripts in the first season, so he got the script. The third season was very unfortunately complicated. Spencer Milligan, as I understand it, and Paul, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think he left because he didn't think they were getting the royalties deserved to them for merchandising. I mean, they had lunch boxes. They put their faces on all sorts of stuff, and he just felt, hey,
it was pretty huge.
Yeah, I mean, there was a picture book. I don't think they had action figures, but it's if you guys saw the toy that toy documentary on Netflix. It was kind of like Star Trek. It's like they would come up with some, like they would put the merchandise on everything, even if the merchandise it's like a magnifying glass. This didn't happen. It's like magnifying glass. Put Land of the Lost on it. It's the Land of the Lost magnifying glass, and sell it. Sell it. And there were all sorts of toys like that. They didn't have it wasn't like Star Wars where they would make action figures related to the thing.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's why they had that weird the last season, which either people want to ignore or they really wish never happened. I mean, the sad thing is they also didn't think about completing. They didn't think about writing last episodes, which.
Yeah.
No. Yes. Yeah. So
nothing had an ending.
Although there's that first season episode, which kind of implies the whole thing's going to be a loop for perpetually anyway. So.
Yeah, that's what David was saying.
So that, I mean, that, what was the name of that? I'm trying to remember the name of that episode.
I think you're thinking about the last episode where they come in and they leave.
Right. But yeah, it's like that kind of implies that this is going to be a time loop forever and ever, no matter what. So.
No, I don't think it was that dire. That would have been, I think he didn't want to make it I think the thing is I think when David wrote it, he didn't know if they were going to renew the, he didn't know if they were going to.
Yeah, Circle. Yeah, it's the last episode of the first season. Yeah. So I mean, you can take that as the last episode of the the second season and ignore Uncle Jack and just go forward.
And not that he was a bad actor, but also the thing is the scripts. I mean, I just saw
the scripts went off the rails, and it's like.
And the last episode was called Circle, which Larry Niven co-wrote with David.
Yeah, so I mean, Larry Niven liked his loops. I mean, there was the episode he wrote where they try to escape by boat and find out the river's a circle.
Well, no, that was the interesting thing. The Land of the Lost is a closed universe. So if you go further enough in it,
you wind up in the where you start. Where there's no beginning, there's no end.
And unfortunately, this shows the dummy. Supposedly, what I think Larry in the commentary said, they didn't want to do a river because a river would be expensive. So they said, can't they just walk on a road? And he goes, a road is going to be circular.
Yeah, no, not going to work. But I mean, for me, the Land of the Lost is ultimately. It's not even the Marshall story because that's just happening. It's Enik's story, and Enik's story is a tragedy, and that's why I like. I mean, I didn't get it at the time, but as I grown older and look back, like Enik's story is a tragedy because he thinks he's gone backwards in time, but when Enik finds out he's gone to the future and that his high civilization is going to turn into degeneracy and fallen civilization, he kind of like loses it, and it's like, damn it, man, you've seen your own future and it sucks.
But
what do you do about that?
Yeah.
Isn't there no future because of the round robin nature?
Well, no. You say it, Paul.
Is that a paradox? Or?
No. Because Enik comes from a time before the Land of the Lost becomes a loop. I mean, high civilization of the intelligence sleeve stacks. He gets transported into this future, into this pocket universe future where the sleeve stacks have gone back to the Stone Age, as it were, and which, you know, there are some issues you might consider with that sort of whole degeneracy that might be a little distasteful to think about. But the fact is that he thinks he's gone to the past, but he's actually gone to the future, and it sucks. And he can't get out either. He can't get out either. And the Marshals.
So he's as stuck as
He's as stuck as the Marshals, but worse, he's stuck in his own future, and he's seen his happy world's going to turn into this.
Well, actually, I got to correct Paul. I got to disagree with you. The thing is, I think Enik's people always built the Land of the Lost as a closed universe. It was always a closed universe, and they established time portals. So I think that was always there. But unfortunately, the sleeve stacks, actually they're called the Altrusians. That's Enik's. That's what Enik calls himself, an Altrusian. That civilization collapsed, and the sleeve stacks are kind of like primitive Altrusians. And what Enik in that episode, and that was Walter Koenig was the one who wrote that episode. Yeah. I don't know if that was in the Bible about Enik as a character, but so Walter wrote that episode, and he thought he was seeing the Neanderthal, the sleeve stacks were the
right. He thought he was seeing his past, But then when he sees all the ruins and and the time crystal and time pylons, like, he realizes, oh no, my people built this. This is our future. Our future is going to be a fallen civilization. I mean, it'd be like if we went to 2500 AD and saw ruins of New York City.
Yeah.
And people living among the ruins. It would be rather disheartening. Especially if you can't get back to desperately get back to try to change the past.
Well, that was the other thing. I mean, supposedly, if you believe the ending of the first season, I mean, also I think everybody was able. It was implied that everybody was able to escape. It's like the Marshals at that point. When the past Marshals come in, the future Marshals can leave, and so can Enik, because now everything is balanced.
But you still wind up with new ones. I just see it as a circle round and around forever. There's no ultimate escape.
How did Rick get out? I know it's a spoiler. I know we're talking spoilers, but this is 50 years later. Why? How did Rick get out and talk about Spencer Milligan?
According to how the beginning of the episodes in season 3, he basically played with the pylons and the time portals, and because there's an episode, I don't remember which season it is, where Holly winds up playing with the pylons and goes flashing through different worlds.
I know that one, but you
yes, and so clearly there is a way out if you want to risk playing with that stuff. And that's what happened to Rick.
Right.
And it nearly happened with Holly. I mean, there was kind of an implication that they could get out that way, but show never ended, so we don't know for sure.
Well, the thing is,
I'll be honest, I was always like, why don't they just go through, find the right portal and go through?
Yeah, well, but they could take one of the wrong portal. Yeah,
if they go through the wrong portal, they could, it could be somewhere where they get shot the second they get there,
well,
or they could end up on a planet without an atmosphere.
Well, no, the episode that Paul is talking about is actually the one written by Sturgeon in the second season, which actually isn't bad. It's called The Pylon Express.
Oh, it is. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, I just looked it up.
And the thing is, the Pylon Express only works when the three moons are in conjunction.
Right. So you gotta wait for a triple conjunction to have it work again.
So, I wonder if that's where Jim Henson got the idea for Dark Crystal, the Great Conjunction. But the thing is, all three of them go at the pylon, but not at the same time. So the thing is, they do actually, the pylon goes to Earth, but they're not all together. So they all want to leave together. So that was
which reminds me of the D&D cartoon. Same thing where everybody except Eric gets out. It's like, well, they can't have that, so we got to go back and save Eric.
Oh, they never did. Actually, that never happened. I just did a rewatch of the whole series. What always happened was they would unfortunately, the episodes where they almost get to Earth is usually the thing is Venger is stirring up trouble. Or actually, there was one episode where they make it to Earth, they're back at the theme park, but Venger came with them. And their weapons don't work and are on Earth. So they have
Venger's magic does because of reasons.
Oh, God, you're right. Because Venger destroys a building.
Yeah, so it's building. Like...
Why do their weapons don't...
Because of bad plot reasons. I think we've gone way off the subject.
Well, no, we're talking about Lost World.
We tangent. This is the Mark Who 42, the tangent show. Basically.
Okay, we're not the clean, disciplined machine that Skippy and Fantasy.
Tangent is good.
Tangent
is entertaining. Tangent is funny.
Juan, have you read God's Junk Drawer yet?
No, I did. It was actually on my Hugo. I knew it was a long shot to be on the Hugo ballot, but I just decided to put it on there anyway.
For listeners who don't know, God's Junk Drawer is a novel by Peter Clines, which basically is a rationalized Land of the Lost plot.
Oh,
nice.
Wow.
Which starts with a kid who had gone to the Land of the Lost, came back and wants to go back to try to find his sister, and winds up taking a bunch of college people along by accident. And it rationalizes what a Land of the Lost could be and why it would exist and what it's all for.
Right.
I enjoyed it a lot.
And I did too. There's an early part of it where there's references to some of the writers on the show, which was really nice.
The novel's completely in conversation with the show. And
yeah, and also I should mention, if you join David Gerald's Patreon, there are a lot of Land of the Lost extras. There's the original pilot script. There's the original writer's Bible. He did try to write a novel. I don't know if he got paid for the novel, or he just wrote a draft. He did try to write a novel which would explain what happened, or at least what happened. And also, in the 90s, they did bring back the show, and David said that they did ask him for what they wanted, and he came up with a Bible, or at least an outline of what could happen, and then he completely ignored it. And they just did Another Family. I don't know if you guys ever saw the.
I never saw that one.
And that brings up a point. Land of the Lost is one of their most successful things because you not only to come back in the 80s, but then Will Ferrell totally destroyed it a couple of bits ago. I mean, they keep bringing it back, kind of like Electra Woman and Diana Girl has come back 2 more times. One in 2001 with Marky Post as Electra Woman, which okay, and then they did it again in 2016. So yeah, Land of the Lost.
Well, the Will Ferrell,
it was a different family, right? It wasn't the Marshalls. It was in the TV series in the 80s. Who were they? It
was the Porters.
The Porters. Yeah, no. Okay. The interesting thing about the show was it looked okay. They just did it. The big changes were, well, obviously the family. They redesigned the Sleestaks. They didn't have a Sleestak civilization. They had 3 renegade Sleestaks running around starting trouble. And then they filmed outdoors. It was an outdoor shoot. They didn't do sets. All of it, and it was on film.
Right.
Rather than although Land of the Lost, all the dinosaurs were on film, and most of the acting was on videotape. And in fact, the thing, Vicky, you brought up Donnie and Marie. Donnie Marie's first episode was actually filmed on the Land of the Lost jungle set.
Oh my gosh.
I actually looked it up.
Somebody known for reusing and repurposing, which is one of the things I think that they were extremely creative in nothing goes to waste. No matter what's going on, even if the show only lasted a season, they were able to reuse so much of it. And there were some actors like Billy Bart that were in multiple shows. And I think it's one of the things that you almost could feel a current going between all of their different shows. Even Pryor's Place.
And that's a good thing. I mean, you mentioned Donnie Marie. You know, there was right after that or during that, the Brady Bunch Variety Hour.
Yes,
I watched the pilot the other night. with the diver, the swimming, the women who do swim. OMG, and Tony Randall was in it. Oh, that is just so wrong in so many ways, and not Jan.
The funny thing to me is the 70s is the and although it did go into the 80s, but it was the world of variety shows. Everyone and their brother had a variety show.
Well, Vicky, I gotta disagree with you. Unfortunately, I thought there was literally. I could be wrong. I can't think of any variety show that started in the 80s. I thought
Pink Lady. Pink Lady was definitely a variety show. And that
you're right.
Pink Lady? That was 1980. That was so maybe you don't.
When was Barbara Mandrell? Was that the late 70s?
Oh God, Barbara Mandrell was from 80 to 82.
Oh, there we are.
So there was and I mean.
And you felt a shift. It still kind of looked a little 70-ish, but then the hair kept getting bigger and bigger.
Okay.
Which is a pity because
I love a good variety show.
I'll be honest. I mean, we all grew up on the Carol Burnett show. So
the Carol Burnett show.
Not all variety was bad.
The Tim Conway show.
I don't think any variety shows were bad. They were just more fun and less fun.
Morecambe and Wise, the two Ronnie. I mean, you think about the comedians in England. They did variety shows past when we did. I think they kept going a little bit further than we did. Talk about taste, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, Vicky's laughing.
Hey, you know what? You gotta have some fun. That's all I can say.
But I mean, variety shows. You have the music, you have the humor.
Yes.
What's wrong with that? What is the one? It's a variety show that's on now. What was it? A current show. Oh God, it'll come to me. Anyway,
a variety show
no,
now?
this is like we were watching something going, wow, we haven't seen this in like 30 years. But God, what was it? I'll get back to you on this.
But can I ask you?
Can I ask you a question?
No, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
You saw the Pink Lady. That was on the documentary I saw. I rewatched.
Last night. Altman.
I
used to love that.
Did they actually speak English? Because supposedly it was a Japanese pop act and they couldn't speak English.
Yeah.
Weren't they
you have a point there. They really didn't, and that's why Altman was there to make it. But yeah, Keiko Masuda and me, or Mai. Is it me or Mai? I don't remember what her name was. They did not speak English. When they sang, they did not speak English at all, and so it only lasted 6 episodes. But yeah, as far as I remember, Jeff Altman was the one who spoke English in the trio. He was their translator as well as comedian.
Yeah, that always felt a little.
If I remember correctly, I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, guys, send an email to markwho42.42@gmail and let me know that I was completely wrong.
Well, no, that's what they said in the documentary. They couldn't speak English,
pretty
that's why the show didn't.
I'm pretty sure that's true.
No, that's true. It's just that I was kind of curious what they did on the show. So Altman did all the talking for them. It just seems like a weird idea.
It was a very weird show, and it only lasted 6 episodes because of that. It was very weird.
But unfortunately, unfortunately, the 80s was their decline. I think their last 2 major shows, they went back well, they did the Pryor's Place show, which is Richard Pryor trying, and I know it sounds crazy now. I think this is after, it's definitely post his accident. I forget where he was in his movie career, and this is in the mid '80s, and he just wanted to do a kind of a kid, Captain Kangaroo type kid show. I mean, it was also kind of a mini variety show because I think they had a few guests every now and then.
Yes.
And they had big names on it too.
I would only watch it because it actually came off after Dungeons and Dragons. At least that's my memory of it. It's like, it's like well, the thing is, I think when you did shows, and I got into an argument with my housemate, because I might talk about at an anime convention. I proposed just talking about American animation, and I told him that Dungeons and Dragons was going to be one of the shows I talk about, and he just wasn't excited about that show, whereas I was. I think it was the best action adventure show at that time. I think the thing is, Spider-Man just recently had a show which just petered out at that point, and then this was
Spider-Man is Amazing Friends. Yeah,
and unfortunately,
I should play the music now, but I won't.
But unfortunately, there was a dearth of action adventure shows at that time. I think everything had gone into comedy, so that's why that show sticks out to me. And I just remembered, so Pryor's Place came up, which also had a mixture of live action and puppets.
And Ray Parker Jr. did the theme to that. That's actually a good.
That's wild.
Wow.
Yeah. There were a lot. They had Robin Williams on that show one episode.
Yeah.
Henry Winkler. The one I watched had Marla Gibbs. Everyone, I don't know if you know who Marla Gibbs is. We're talking Jefferson's 227, stuff like that. Willie Nelson was on. Sammy Davis Jr. I mean, these were great. They had people on it, and unfortunately, 13 episodes, one season.
Well, again, that might have been the thing that Mark Evanier said, that they just do enough shows that they might have rerun potential.
Right. I didn't see Pryor's Place, but I did see DC Follies.
I saw a few episodes.
That was a great show. Great show.
I mean, it's a product of its time. It could never be run today. I mean, conservatives and liberals going to the same bar, that show just would not run today. But it's just I mean, they got also guest stars for that, like Mike Tyson fighting the puppet of George Bush. Like, what? How could you do this?
Yeah.
But my question with that show was that a response to the Spitting Image? Because I thought they were overlapping at the time.
I don't know. That's a good question.
Because I think at that time when the show came on, I had seen either like an Entertainment Tonight segment or something about the Spitting Image, and again, they were going back to their puppetry, they were going back to the strengths.
Yes.
And I think that was their last show. I think after that they were just living off DVD or even VC videotape releases of their old shows.
I think so, so that was.
But also,
then they had the remakes of like Linda Lawson things after that.
Yeah.
But
Although
that was the last original show.
Vicky, I hate this. Vicky and Mark, well, maybe Paul, this is a long shot. Did you ever go to their attempted theme park in Atlanta?
No.
Ironically, I was living in Georgia at the time, but I don't remember that. But I also understand it was only open for a few months.
Yeah, unfortunately, they were trying. They built it in the if you know the geography of Georgia or of Atlanta at the time, it was at the Omni. And
what year
I think down to see 75, 76. In fact, I think the opening, and I could be wrong about this, the opening of one of the seasons of the Krofft Super Show is the rock group gathering of a bunch of kids and walking to the to where it was, to the Omni, to go to this place, and they would do their shtick and then do the other shows in it. I mean, that was a great detail, but I think because unfortunately, I think that was a really big flop. I think they lost millions of dollars on it. And they had some interesting ideas because I think they would recreate a lot of the puppet and stuff, sets, and also they had this ride where you're in a pinball, you're in a giant pinball machine.
Yeah, that would go really well.
Well, I mean, they had some. I don't know if they got that. I think the other thing is they needed a lot of help. It was falling apart, and it just was. I don't think it was fully realized. They never got it completely together.
It opened on May 26, 1976. closed 6 years later. It was
6
the
months later.
first. It was for Georgia. It was the first fully indoor theme park. It was
Yeah.
it was inside the Omni International Complex. That would have been cool. And yes, I see the giant pinball ride. That looks cool. But yeah,
it's funny because you would have thought that it would have done better.
Yeah. Because all the shows were at that time. It was closed.
Yeah.
But it was closed due to low attendance and this is the interesting part, high security concerns in the area at the time. What was going on in Atlanta in 1976?
Hang on.
Yeah, we're doing research while we do the show.
Well, unfortunately, they claim on the documentary that the crime rate was up. So I mean,
okay, so it was right. Okay,
but
that makes sense.
I think unfortunately, the crime rate might have been up in the 70s. I might have heard this. Please correct me if I'm wrong, or if you do know. But it's just that there were more people at that time. I mean, peak baby boomers, so there were just more people who could do crime.
But see, Six Flags Over Georgia opened in '67, and that did not close due to high concerns.
But that's outdoors, and maybe they just.
But it sounds like a made up reason. Maybe
it does.
Yes.
I don't think it's real. I think you're right.
Yeah.
Now, but Disney World had only been open for 5 years by that point and was already making a profit.
Yeah.
So and it was so close because we went to Disney World when it opened when we were living in Fort Benning, and it wasn't that long of a drive. So it just, I can't help but think that there were just too many other things that could pull from it. And while the kids might have really enjoyed it, how many of the parents were familiar with it? The kids, the teens, they would know the shows, but at least the variety show that came of it also then resulted in a lot of the other shows, like Electro Woman and Dyna Girl was a short segment.
Yes, they were shorts. It's Dr. Shrinker.
Dr. Shrinker. Yeah.
Okay, so Magic Mongo, I have never heard of before, but I watched it. You've got Time for Timer guy.
I know that was the same voice.
I remember Time for Timer.
It was Lenny Weinrib did Time for Timer, those ABC shorts, and he played Mongo. Yeah. So I was like, ooh, I like this. And did you always notice that the shows usually were mostly male-centric? That there was like maybe one woman on the show. And then, of course, came Electro Woman and Dyna Girl. What?
I said the villains were usually the girls.
Yeah. Electro Woman and Dyna Girl had more women. And then Magic Mongo, there were 2 women and 1 guy, except for Mongo. So I was like, wow, they've progressed.
The 2 women were in bikinis, and that might have had more to do with it.
Yeah, they were in bikinis. Yeah, but that was nice.
Magic Mongo was, I will say it's kind of weird because I remember it's just that they find a genie and they just hang out on the beach and they're terrorized by a biker gang.
Yes. Yeah, that's what the show was. That's all it was.
And Magic Mongo would either cause more problems or get them out of problems because the magic.
It was I Dream of Jeannie. It was I Dream of Jeannie.
I Dream of Jeannie for kids.
For kids.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go. And watching it, I did not hate it. That was not a bad show.
I do want to bring up one fact. Electro Woman and Dyna Girl was just another attempt to do Batman. Because I think before Batman,
when they were switching scenes, they had the EW go like the bat.
Yeah.
I'm kind of surprised that William Dozier didn't sue them. He was still alive at the time.
And Dyna Girl kept doing Robin, holy, but she didn't say it. She said Electra, fantastic.
Exactly.
It was so Batman. It was. So
it's one of those things that you don't always pick up on it when you're younger, and then as you get older and you watch this stuff, and your first thought is oh my God, I watched this, and how old was I? And B, it's like, wow, I can see where everyone was just borrowing from everyone else. There was a lot of borrowing back then.
Yeah. And then they had Norman Alden playing Frank Heflin. Frank Heflin, who was their Alfred, except, of course, Electro Woman and Dyna Girl can't do anything themselves without Frank telling them what to do or how to do it. So it was definitely still male chauvinistic.
Yes.
Even though there were two women starring.
Charlie and Alfred, but it's like, now press this button.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I watched one where they went back in time.
to tell him to press a button. You know.
But these
I
shows
still love the fact that I could identify with them.
Yeah.
But I wanted to be Batman as a kid, but it was always frustrating because, there was a little bit
had
of
to be
difference.
Batgirl in that time.
Batgirl,
back then.
I love Yvonne, but Batgirl's character was so badly written, even for that whole genre.
Yeah, pretty much. But back to now we're going to bring the tangent back because it's been half an hour. Land of the Lost. And I actually asked a question that was never answered. I asked about, Rick Marshall and why did Spencer Milligan leave the show?
I did answer.
No, we never got there. We talked about Rick Marshall, how he got off the show. We didn't talk how the actor quit. We did not talk about
the actor quit over royalties for, merchandising.
I had a Land of the Lost lunchbox, by the way.
I saw those and never owned it, but he thought he wasn't getting enough cut of that, and so like usual, the answer to 9,900 questions is money. So
I just wanted to pull that out there. That's what I thought it was. I just thought maybe the audience would be interested.
And unfortunately, it wasn't uncommon because I think one of the reasons that it took a while for Leonard Nimoy to come on board for the first Star Trek film was because they've been using his face on merchandising since the show.
Yes.
Since the show was on the air.
Mm-hmm.
Is that why Dick York left Bewitched and
Dick Sargent came on?
What's the reason? He was sick. Okay, I don't remember him being
Yeah.
Which reminds me of a classic Rosie O'Donnell. Rosie O'Donnell said she was traumatized by Dick York leaving and then being replaced by Dick Sargent. She would go to her. She claimed she would go to her parents and "Are you you? Are you still you?" She did a routine about that.
And of course, on Brady Bunch Variety Hour, you had Not Jan.
Yeah.
Not Jan, because she wouldn't do the show. I don't think she wanted to be stuck in a 5-year contract that they were pulling her into a 3-year contract, and money was also part of that.
I was never a fan of the Brady Bunch. I mean, it wasn't heavily syndicated in Miami when I was growing up.
Wasn't it?
That's how I remember it. Also,
I was watching it in New York. I probably didn't watch it.
And also, I just felt, isn't this Richard Nixon's idea of the American family?
Well, I liked the show until Cousin Oliver came on and it jumped the shark.
Cousin Oliver ruins everything.
He destroyed it.
Yes.
But I watched it as a kid. I love that show. But the Brady Bunch Variety Hour.
Okay, I have to ask you, Mark, did you see the Brady Kids?
Yes. I also watched the Brady Brides get married. I also watched the Brady... the show when they had the hour-long drama where Mike Brady became like a...
or something?
Yeah, they moved the house. They moved the house so that it would be in the right district so that Mike Brady could become a politician. I watched that show. And Bobby was a racing car driver and he got injured.
Yes.
So I loved the Brady Bunch. Even the Variety Hour wasn't that bad. I watched it.
I watched it, but I admit that with some trepidation because not everyone can sing, and Disney had always done. There's a lot of people who were forced into singing roles that had no business.
No,
being anywhere near them.
Now, of course, Robert Reed was an actor in theater. So and Florence Henderson can sing. You had Barry Williams thinks he could sing and sang many times, but you're right. And I'm assuming that Jerry Reichel, who played Not Jan, was hired because did she sing well? I mean, why else would you hire?
I'm going to be honest. In some of those shows, it's one
Donnie
of those
Marie
not so secret where a lot of the people weren't actually singing. Donnie Marie, the Osmonds, they could really sing.
Right, but the guest stars probably
not all of them could, but some of them could.
Yeah, and people watch those shows. Maybe not the Brady Bunch, but people watch Donnie Marie.
Yep.
Yeah.
I watched Donnie and Marie.
I watched it. I used to like them. Now I only like Donnie in the Weird Al video. White and nerdy. Other than that, I wouldn't go and watch Donny Osmond anymore. Probably not. But I liked him younger. We are so far off of our topic.
What? Okay, what are we talking about again?
This is the Brady Bunch show. We're talking all about the Brady Bunch show on Mark.
Well, it is related because they did produce that.
Well, yeah, they did.
They did produce it,
and yeah, they did.
I mean, that was the thing that they did, produce.
And like I said, I watched that 2 nights ago. I watched the pilot.
I mean,
so you did good. I just watched the overall documentary about it. One thing they didn't explain to me is why they couldn't get Alan Hale Jr. for Far Out Space Nuts.
And that's a good point. That's a good point. Chuck McCann was basically Skipper.
Yes.
The character that Chuck McCann played. Well, okay. On Sigmund and the Sea Monster. Hold on. Let me get. I want to make sure I have the right actor. Give me a second. Sigmund and the Sea Monster. So Billy Barty played Sigmund's father, Uncle Sigmund. No, I'm sorry. He played his uncle. Who played the father? Because I'm listening to him talk. I'm like, oh, he kind of sounds like Archie Bunker. And then a little bit later in the show, he starts calling them Dingbats and Meathead. This Archie Bunker was the father or uncle, whatever it was Archie Bunker on the show.
Well, I think, I think it was.
I love that. I was like, wow, this is great.
Well, I think unfortunately they're protected under parody under that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You are protected for that. Yeah. Yeah. On the copy. Yeah, you are. Land of the Lost. Let's get back to Land of the Lost because I know that's one of the reasons Paul is on the show. That Paul and Juan want to talk Land of the Lost. I'll shut up for a while. Go for it.
Well, anything you want to say, Paul? I mean,
I'm better at answering questions rather than babbling endlessly about it. But I mean, Land of the Lost was. I mean, I saw some Sigmund and the Sea Monsters. I saw a couple of the other shows. I saw some Major Puppets stuff. But Land of the Lost. When you say Sid and Marty Krofft, I think of Land of the Lost. Sean, have you read Paragaia by what's his name? Chris. Oh crap! Chris Robertson.
Or is it Roberson? I thought it was
Roberson. Yeah. Have you read Paragaia? That's a basically action adventure story about a female cosmonaut who winds up getting transported to another planet, another dimension, tries to find her way back. And at one point she's wandering through the jungle and she basically wanders onto what is essentially the Land of the Lost, like complete with sea stacks. If you know, you know. She doesn't know, of course, but it's just like they describe the temple and sea stacks exactly, and she runs for her life. It's like, oh, I see what you did there. Because I think Land of the Lost has been the most influential of all those series as far as inspiring other people, inspiring other properties. I mean, the whole drop people into. I mean, thank you, Will Ferrell, for ruining it for the next 20 years. But maybe someday somebody will try to remake it. But
yeah, that's a bad thing. If you do reboots, make them good. Unfortunately, I went to see that on opening day, and I knew it was going to be bad. But I have the theory. Paul, you weren't the one who. No, it was a friend of mine. Couldn't believe that I said it, but I said you cannot criticize something unless you see it, and I felt I had to see it. And the sad thing is, did the rest of you see it? I thought it had decent production.
I saw it.
Would you agree with me that it at least had decent production values? The sets looked okay, the costumes looked okay. It's just the
story and the I don't know. It's like, did you guys like the show or did you hate the show before you wrote it?
That's a good point, Vicky.
Sometimes Will Ferrell, he likes to do these reboots and stuff, and I am not a huge Will Ferrell fan. I'm actually the one person on the planet who does not like Elf.
Same.
Yes, I'm vindicated. I just, sometimes he thinks something is funny, and it might be funny in a skit. It might be funny in a 2-minute segment. It's not going to be funny in a long-running show. And if you are, in essence, making fun of the fans, you could do a parody. You know, there are so many parodies out there of Star Trek that are really good and embrace the fans.
And following Galaxy Quest, yes.
Yeah, I'm thinking Galaxy Quest. You know, one of the best Star Trek movies that was ever made.
You're not wrong.
No. And there's a reason Land of the Lost is historically been the top of everyone's favorite list. I actually very much loved it. And you know, I love anything with a good time travel, science fiction-y twist, as we all know. And it just, the fact that they could do so much with so little, and then you get this big budget that could have been great. Visually, it felt great. It wasn't going to be quite the sock puppet dinosaurs that we had in the original. That's probably a good thing. And that's about as good as it gets.
Wait, to defend that, they only did the only time they used the puppet was when for close-ups.
True.
Otherwise, you used stock footage, yeah.
That was David Jones said they only had for the first. I think they only had 17 minutes of dinosaur footage that they had to use for the whole first season.
Yeah.
So they had to be very economical of what they did.
Yeah.
And also I can tell you some more. Paul, I'm just asking you just so I know what your information base is. Did you ever buy the DVD set and see any of the docs that were on it or any of?
I didn't see the docs. I mean, I watched the DVD set in the early 2000s. A friend had them, and he wanted me to watch them with him, so I did. But we didn't watch the docs. He just wanted to see the episodes.
Oh, okay. Now the thing is, there was a lot of information. Like one of the things, when David got the gig of being the story editor and also writing the Bible for it, he just decided, okay, they told him you're gonna have 17 episodes, so he broke it up and like, all right, 3 episodes for the main cast, 3 episodes on the sleeve stacks, 3 dinosaur episodes, 3 Pakuni episodes, and then I think whatever left over were wild cards, and he just had a plan, and he just did what Star Trek did, and I don't think any other show has done since. He just went to the science fiction community and tried to get scripts. He also went. I mean, Dorothy Fontana did a script. Margaret Arman, who Dorothy got for Star Trek, did the Gamesters of Transkelion, also did a script. Apparently, Margaret and Dorothy were the only 2 women writing action adventure in the 60s and 70s. I might be exaggerating, but there weren't too many. Women were writing with men a lot of comedy. In fact, I think there was a woman who was a co-writer who worked on the Lucy shows, who later went on to Alice. But there weren't too many women working on action adventures, so they got Margaret Arman. Actually, I remember when I was doing my rewatch and I posted, Gideon Marcus was shocked. Gideon Marcus does the Galactic Journey, for those of you who don't know. I know Paul knows. He was shocked. He didn't know that Larry Niven had ever written for television before when I did my rewatch in 2024.
Oh, yeah. In 2 years, he's up to 71 now. In 2 years, he'll be up to Land of the Lost for Galactic Journey if he keeps going.
Yeah, I don't know if I could write. I was only able to write 100 words per episode, but then again, maybe if I disciplined myself, maybe I could do it, in 2 years. No, actually, wait, they're at 71, so it'd be 3 years from now.
No, it's 73. Wasn't Land of the Lost started in 73?
74.
Oh, I'm wrong. Oh no, it's Sigmund Sea Monsters was 73 on those, right? So we still have a few more years before we approach.
No, because it was interesting. I did a 50th anniversary of Star Trek, the animated series, which the second season overlapped Land of the Lost, which was kind of interesting.
See, that never went on syndication in New York, so I didn't see that till
it didn't go in syndication. It didn't go in syndication in Miami either. I first saw when Nickelodeon, I think, was starting out. They didn't have too much. Nickelodeon got to rerun Star Trek, the animated series. So I don't know if that's where, because we would have been too. I think we would have been
a little too young for it.
Yeah,
I think Mark, I hate to say it, you might have had better memories of Star Trek the animated series.
I watched it when it was on, but no, you're right. The syndication, it didn't. New York, I know every night at 6 o'clock on WPIX we got Star Trek. TOS. We had the Star Trek, and that's what my mom. That's how I got into science fiction. My mom would sit me down and we'd watch Star Trek. But the animated, I only saw when it was on, and then I saw bootleg copies at conventions.
Yeah.
And that's
Well,
I got a lot of shows at conventions that really they shouldn't have been showing. But
supposedly at Omnicon they had Howard Weinstein, who wrote the Pirates of Orion or Orion, because somebody screwed up the pronunciation of Orion.
Like Omega and Omega.
No, that is not the British.
How did they say that wrong? How does the doctor say Omega?
I thought that was an argument I had with my friend Patty. I thought they said no, that's how the British pronounced Omega. They pronounce Omega.
Omega.
Omega. No,
that's his name. Omega, not Omega. Again, tangent. Sorry.
We tangented.
Sticking with the tangent. Did you hear Peter Capaldi just was wondering why fans take the show so seriously? I need to talk to him again because we need to have a conversation, Peter and I.
Anyway,
it's important to take it seriously. Can't do shows like this if we don't take it too seriously. There'd be no shows on the internet if it wasn't for Doctor Who fans taking it very seriously.
Seriously.
Very seriously. Fair. That is my tangent. Please go back, Juan. We're getting close to the end, so Juan.
Yeah.
Did you notice I didn't talk for 5 minutes? There was no sound coming from me. I was watching more Cowbell with Will Ferrell, and I don't know what you were talking about.
Oh,
no.
No.
All right, so I'm going to shut up again. Juan, take over.
No, we were just talking about, it's supposedly Netflix is doing Land of the Lost, and hopefully, I heard that David Jarrett was in LA for some reasons. He's living in Vermont now, so I don't know if he said that he had a talk that he couldn't talk about. I hope that they had the good sense to talk about what would make the show work with him, and
Land of the Lost is a property I want to succeed. There's things I don't want rebooted ever. Land of the Lost is something I want a good reboot of.
Yes. And I think what they need to do is, yes, you can put more money into it, up the production value, but remember that ultimately one of the reasons it was so successful is that they didn't have a lot of money and they had to focus on other things. Sometimes when you get a property it's really good, it's really popular, sometimes for years, if not decades. And if you can put money into it and still have it be a good thing, but if you forget what it was, believe it, it's hard to say this about Sid and Marty Krofft, but I think that had the best storylines. The rest of them were fun. But this had, you got invested on whether or not they were going to live. You got invested. You liked these characters. I was upset when what's his name left. Sorry.
Rick Marshall.
Thank you, Marshall. Yes. When he left, I was upset at the time because I was like, oh no, how are these kids going to survive? And then they do.
Well, and they bring Uncle Jack in.
And then they bring on the uncle, which was a little...
No. Speaking of that, Chaka. And the story arc. Chaka by season 3 was speaking a little bit of English.
Well, I think they got... I got a great story, and I don't know if this is a good place to end it.
Yeah, go for it.
Supposedly, the Crofts hired a linguistics from, I think, UCLA.
Yeah.
To create the Pakuni language. I think they were. I think David later said that I think they were afraid that he put in weird messages or have him cuss or something. They wanted to have a language. So, but that was a problem because the lady designed the language without, I think, without an L, or it was one of those languages where it. Well, wait a minute. My main characters are Marshall, Will, and Holly. How is the Pakuni going to say that if there's no L in the language? And then, she had an answer, it would be, and she wrote it up. Well, the main characters who also shared this planet with them are the Sleestak. Are they going to say, and they go, they would say Sarataka, but they're called Sleestaks. And he got into a fight with an NBC guy with being forced this language. And he goes, how am I supposed to say that they're Sleestaks if the other natives called them something else? And he goes, just have a sign that says beware of the Sleestak. Who wrote that? And he goes, who cares? Just do it. And he did, but then he would write an episode. There would be a later episode where he explains who wrote beware of the Sleestak. There was a whole episode, and it was actually a ghost story. They find a diary but at the end, the big twist, it turns out they're two Revolutionary War soldiers. And the name Sleestak they claimed was from an officer that they didn't like, Major Joshua Sleestak. And it was kind of funny because David forgot that he actually put Joshua Sleestak in a later novel. There's like a scene in one of his novels. There's a scene, I think it takes place in the spaceport, but essentially it's a scene like paging Joshua Sleestak, paging Joshua's, and he didn't remember it. He goes, because I had him at a coffee clutch, and this would have been, I think it was 95, and I just asked him. I asked a really dumb, stupid question, and I thought I blowed my question. But the coffee clutch, I don't know, Paul. I have you ever done a coffee clutch where the conversation stops, or you don't do coffee clutches?
I've done a few coffee clutches now and then with authors I know well. So
did you ever have the conversation stop at a point and somebody's got to say something? If not, it's gonna, you know. Oh, really? I thought it was just unique. It's just like people.
No. It's just the awkwardness.
It can happen to the best of you.
So when I asked David Gerald, when it went quiet, I goes, "All right, did you actually know a guy named Sleestak?" He goes, "No, I made that up." He goes, "Well, you put him in one of your tracker novels." It goes, "Oh, I did." He had no memory that it wasn't a character, it wasn't a full realized character. It was just he needed a name, and I go, "Oh, Joshua Sleestak." He didn't, no personality, no nothing. So, there is no Joshua Sleestak. Whether there ever will be or not, let's hope there is. Let's hope that we get a good Land of the Lost in the future, that this Netflix thing works out.
One last thing I want to say about all these shows is I'm not a music person, as Juan knows, but the jingle, the songs for these shows, the opening and ending credits, I've always stuck in my brain. Land of the Lost, Sick and the Sea Monsters, HR Pup and stuff. They just like stick it. They just had a gift for getting into your brain and staying there forever. Did you ever see Bubble Boy, Juan?
No, I know of it.
Yes. The opening of Bubble Boy has the main character in a bubble playing a version of the Land of the Lost theme song.
I forgot about that.
It is bizarrely weird. Well, it just took me right back.
The music. What do you think?
Are we
the
talking about the John Travolta
one?
Or
here, there, and everywhere.
But but also the music in the show when they were basically the monkeys.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. So so there's a whole book to be written about the music of these shows too.
Maybe one show we could do in the far future is the show on the music of Sid and Marty Krofft.
Well, I think
maybe.
Well, I'm not knocking on, but I wasn't. Schwartz, the guy. I'm trying to remember the guy who's created
Schwartz.
What?
Who did Godspell and Wicked?
No, the guy who did the creator of Gilligan's Island.
Sherwood.
Yeah,
you decided to say Gilligan's Island, I would have got it.
Yeah, but wasn't he the one who came up with the idea of have your theme song explain the premise of your show, so you don't have to do it?
Yes, he was.
I don't know if
anybody did a good job at it.
And I think the Krofts took that to heart. So I think
yes, they did.
And it worked.
Yes, you had everything you needed to know in 1 minute.
I think we're at the point. We're at a good point to end this show. My name is Mark Baumgarten. Paul, any final words as our guest, Paul Weimer? Tell us where you are located and all that fun stuff.
I'm located all over the internet as Prince Justin with a V. That is PRINCEJVSTIM. I'm on Blue Sky. I do podcasts. I do book reviews. You just Google Prince Justin with a V and you'll find some of the stuff I do. Where you could talk to me most is probably on Blue Sky, where my handle is princejustin.com.
Okay. What about this Nerds of a Feather thing?
Nerds of a Feather is the fanzine I am an editor, one of the editors for, who is up for best fanzine for the Hugos for 2026. We are at nerds-feather.com.
Okay. And I know, Juan, you can't tell me if you voted for it or not because it's a secret.
Well, we're only in the nomination phase, so did he nominate me? I have no idea.
Juan, Sanmiguel, Vicky Jakubowski, myself, Mark Baumgarten. Thank you, Paul Weimer. We will be back in a week or two with another show that you probably would like. Until next time, folks, this is Mark 42 saying so long.
Be seeing you.
Be seeing you is probably what I should have done. That makes more sense. Or Alonzi.
I'm a big Prisoner fan.
Prisoner. Oh, I love. We have to do a show on the Prisoner. You coming back? We're gonna do a show on the Prisoner. Bye, everyone. Be seeing you. You've been listening to Mark Who 42. Your hosts, Mark Baumgarten, Vicky Jakubowski, and Juan Sanmiguel. If you'd like to leave a comment for us, please email us at markwho42.42@gmail.com. Mark Who 42's Universe is produced and directed by Mark Baumgarten. Copyright 2026.